listeners. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today is Memorial Day here in the United States, and it's my 7th episode of the Wise Owl Knits Fibercast. I'm Cheryl Beckridge, and I'm your host today and always, and have this podcast just as a way to talk about what I'm knitting, what I'm designing, what I might be sewing, any of my fibery pursuits. And I really appreciate you taking the time to watch today. I know you have lots of different things to watch, and I appreciate you spending a little time with me. As I said earlier, today is Memorial Day. This is the day that we honor and remember our fallen soldiers who gave the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. And we thank their families, we thank them for their sacrifice, and we just remember how important they are to us and to our way of life here in the United States. So we thank all of our servicemen who gave the ultimate sacrifice. And we appreciate all that they have done. So, Memorial Day here in the United States. Okay, first of all, what I'm wearing is the Wispy Willow cardigan. It's a pattern that I published several years ago, probably 7 or 8 years ago. And I've done several versions of them, but this Wispy Willow is knit out of a blend that is linen and I believe wool, and it was from Cedar Hill Yarns, who I don't believe is selling right now, but may sell again in the future. It's a lovely yarn. It's a fingering weight, and works just really good for this pattern. Raglan sleeves, top down, all in one piece. You can put a buttonhole and a button at the top if you want. I'm not a fan of buttonholes in knitting. I've tried lots of different buttonholes, and they'll look nice at the beginning, but they end up stretching out and they don't look as nice. So I tend to use shawl pins more, or just put lots and lots of buttons on something that I'm going to keep buttoned up all the time, and forgo the buttons if I don't think I'm going to want to button it up anyway. So again, the Wispy Willow cardigan, it is available on wiseowlknits.com. So if you want to check that out, just click on patterns and sweaters, and then you'll find the Wispy Willow along with my other sweater patterns. So that is what I am wearing today. What I am working on, several different things, one of which is this colorwork sweater that's knit out of Knitting McPurley yarn. I've got a couple of sets of her minis, and then full skein, or I actually have several full skeins of the green, which is Meadow. So I have split for the sleeves, and I am working down, and it's mostly green at the bottom, but little bits of color there that will stagger down the body of the sweater. Don't have a name for this one yet. It's going to be something floral or garden. The Secret Garden entered my mind, though I don't know if that'll be it or not. That name is probably taken. I tend to pick names that have already been taken. So this is a fun one to knit. Colorwork sweaters really seem to go so fast just because they're so interesting. So watch for more progress on this, and then I'll be pattern writing and having to call out for testers on that. The other thing that I've been working on is a shark. It's going to be Shark Week soon. I'm not sure how I'm going to do teeth on this shark, but I've got to figure that out. See my fingernails? I have my checkered flags on because yesterday was the Indy 500. Super big day here in Indianapolis. I didn't go to the race, but we sat out on the deck and watched it on the deck. And I had a picture of a stuffed shark that I got off of Amazon. And this shark, he still needs fins. He needs his top fin and his side fins and his tail fin. And we've got some back here, dorsal fins. So there's the shark. I'm not sure if I'm going to embroider on an eye or if I'm going to use a plastic eye. I think that's probably what I'll do because I like the shiny look of that. So anyway, here's my great white. I will have a pattern out for him before Shark Week. So watch for that. Just kind of a fun diversion on a holiday weekend. So that is my shark. And those are the two things that I've been working on. I have one other thing that I was working on, and that is a blanket that I made on the knitting machine and then crocheted a border around. That is finished, and that is going to be a donation to Birthline, which is our Catholic charity that helps out moms in need and women that are in crisis pregnancies. So I will insert a picture of that here. And that's just my baby blanket knit on the knitting machine. It's in Mandela yarn by Lion Brand. And, you know, it's fun to do. I knit different strips and then I sewed the strips together. And as I was doing that, I came to the realization, which I already knew, that I don't enjoy the knitting machine that much. I like regular hand knitting so much better. And I decided that I would give my knitting machine to someone who would use it, who is my future daughter-in-law, who is an amazing designer and designs knitwear that she sells finished pieces. So is a great sewist and fashion designer, and you can see her designs. I'll link her Instagram in the show notes, but it's Allie Beck Designs, and she does beautiful things, and I think she will use the knitting machine to its full advantage, and I really wasn't, and that leaves a little extra space in my knitting room, which I always need. There's never enough space, never enough tables. So that helps her out and helps me out too, and the knitting machine will get used. So my last project on the knitting machine. Though I'll still make blankets for Birthline. I probably will mostly crochet those, and I will knit some hats for them also. Okay, so that is my only finished object this week. Sometimes I feel like I'm so slow, but you know, if you work full time and you've got a lot of things going on and a lot of works in progress, you don't always have finished objects, and that's okay. It's not fast fashion, it's slow fashion. So I'm still in testing on the Trina Trio behind me, and that will be over the middle of June, so expect that pattern to be released not long after that. That will have a coloring page too, so if you want to try different colors before you dive deep into the knitting, you can do that. And looking forward to the release of that pattern. The Solomon poncho right there whoop, right there, is almost complete being written. I have the main body of the poncho written, and I have the neckline written for the small and medium size. I had to do a separate chart for large through 3XL, and there's some differences in the sizing between large, extra large, large/extra large, and 2X/3X. So there's some differences, but I was able to accommodate those differences all in one chart. So the chart is done. The chart has been added to the pattern, but I'm also writing everything out. This is going to be a really long pattern just because I am writing out all of the cable patterns and their iterations. And it's a 24-row repeat for the main cable pattern. So it's just written out once in the pattern, and then you have to repeat it 7 times. But for the neckline, it's a little bit longer. You go through several repeats on the neckline, and part of that has increases or decreases and then increases. So I'm writing the whole thing out on that. So that'll be a bit longer, but should accommodate everybody's wants. If you like to follow a written pattern, that will be available for you. And if you would rather just follow the charts, that will be available for you too. So that's Solomon's poncho. And those are my designs in progress right now. I don't know what's going to come next. I might do, after I've done the shark, which is a work in progress and a design in progress. After I do the shark, I might do a dolphin. Maybe I'll just do I've never made little toys before, but I think they're kind of fun and they go fast. The pattern writing's probably going to be a bit of a challenge for me because there's so many teeny little steps. And I tried to write everything down as I was doing it. And I kind of failed at that. I didn't write everything down, but I wrote enough down, and I can count stitches and rows to get the rest of it. I like the little gills here. I was kind of proud of those. Those are just a little bit of garter stitch. So may do some other small animals because they're really fun to do. Maybe I'll do a hammerhead shark. That would be fun. Also, I wanted to give a shout out to my friend Ian Pinkava, who taught me how to do Intarsia in the Round. Ian is from Politically Incorrect Knitters, and they are doing a special knit along starting on Shark Week, so this will be something that will be great for that knit along. If you're interested, I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. So those are all my designs in progress right now, and moving on to some good things. Some good things. It's summer, and this seems to be the time of the year that there are lots of new knit-alongs. And so I just wanted to share with you some of them. I am not doing one because I feel like with my job and the designing that I'm doing right now and test knits, I've got enough to keep track of. But there are lots of fun knit-alongs that you can participate in this summer. And I just want to mention a few of those. One is called Fluff Your Stash, and that is from Texas Peach Knits. That is Stephanie, and Stephanie has a podcast. And Fluff Your Stash means you go through your stash and figure out what you want to keep and what you don't want to keep. Maybe give some away or use some up on a project. I don't know all the specifics on any of these knit-alongs, but this one sounded like a great idea because we all need to cull the herd a little bit sometimes with all the yarn that we acquire. But in this particular Fluff Your Stash podcast, you're supposed to go through and sort through what you like and what you don't like, and then also knit from things that you purchased before June 1st, which is when the knit along begins. So patterns that you got before June 1st, yarn that you got before June 1st, and you get points for what you knit from that or crochet. And there's some element of donating or rehoming some of your yarn too. So Fluff Your Stash starting June 1st. Again, that's from Stephanie at Texas Peach Knits. And I think she's Texas Peach Knits on Instagram, though I wouldn't swear to that, but I believe so. And she is on YouTube as Texas Peach Knits. Summer of Murder from Tabitha is going to be starting soon too. It's always a really fun knit along. There's so many knitters and just women in general, men too, but it seems like it's more women that really love true crime. And the Summer of Murder, you get points and entries for posting pictures of yourself knitting while you're watching true crime or listening to true crime on a podcast. So that is a fun one. Again, that's Tabitha from Murder Knits. She is not on Instagram, though she does have a YouTube channel called Murder Knits, and she has a Telegram group where she's running the knit along. If you're interested in joining, you need to get to know Tabitha because she doesn't let people in that she doesn't know. So you might have to tell her a little bit about yourself before she'll let you in. Not that she's trying to be snobby or picky, but she just doesn't want any drama in her group. You can watch drama. You can watch all the drama you want, and that the crime drama is what she enjoys, and she always has a really, really fun knit along. So Summer of Murder from Murder Knits. Of course, there's the Faucette along from Knitting McPurley, and I'll insert a picture of my Faucette. That was supposed to end the end of May, but has been extended to the end of June because, as you know, Knitting McPurley dyes yarn, and the Faucette uses her DK weight yarn. The knit along was so popular, more popular than she anticipated it being. She ran out of DK yarn and wasn't able to get more from her supplier. So because of that, she's got the yarn back in stock now and all dyed up. But because of that, she extended the deadline for the Faucette along to the end of June. So if you still want to knit a Faucette, they're fun and they're really quick. You can cast that on today and still get entered to win. So she's Knitting McPurley on Instagram, Knitting McPurley on YouTube. And she's got her own website that's knittingmcpurley.com. So check that out. The last one that I want to talk about, and I don't know all the details on it yet, but that is the Shark Week knit along from Politically Incorrect Knitters. And for that one, I know you have to, I think maybe email in what you were making by a certain date, and you have the week of Shark Week to knit it. If you don't get done by the end of the week, you have to rip it out. So that's kind of a unique challenge. I know you get more points if you knit a shark related item, hence why I'm doing my shark pattern. And I'm not sure if you get points for, you probably do get points for posting pictures of yourself watching Shark Week and knitting a shark-related item or any item that you want. So I believe that will be on their Telegram group, which is Politically Incorrect Knitters, and probably also on Instagram. And their podcast, Politically Correct Knitters, comes out at least once a week, and they do a live show, I think every other Tuesday, which are always fun. They have lots of good guests on that, oftentimes Neil from Block Magazine, and just other friends that may have experienced cancellation in the past. So Politically Incorrect Knitters and their Shark Week Knit Along. Thank you so much for watching today. As I said at the beginning, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch my podcast. I hope I'm getting a little better at it. I don't necessarily feel like I am. I did decide to stand up today rather than sitting down because I always work from a stand-up desk at my job, and I really am kind of more comfortable that way. So that's what I decided to do. It's one of the little things that really adds up, keeps you stronger, and it's good for your back. So again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.